Hey everyone, okay, here we are, April 29. It's 7:30 p.m. This is my, I think they're shiitake mushroom logs that I inoculated last year. You can see the white spots on them, which are, sorry, I have the exhaust of the furnace right here, but and I have birds chirping galore. This is my first video on my GoPro 8 Black, I think it's called, and so yeah, it was supposed to rain today, this afternoon, and just some drops, so I was really hoping it was going to help out, to help fill this this little pool here with some rainwater, and I had put my logs in already, so I'm happy that I'm happy there you can see they're soaking up the water, even if they're just touching it a little bit, but I don't want to keep them in here forever. Like, they're only supposed to be in here for like 24 hours, and it's already 24 hours. So I'm just topping up the pool, whatever you want to call it, with some more city water, and I'll leave them again overnight, and that'll be that. Hopefully, we're supposed to be getting some 20-degree weather the next few days, so hopefully it won't be too early or too soon from being soaked up, from soaking in the water, to shoot out some nice mushrooms. And I inoculated them last year, so I hope they're gonna work. I hope they do deliver some mushrooms sometime this year. So after these guys soak, I will have to grab the, can I zoom with this? Grab the oyster, I think those are oysters down there. So we're just waiting for I did it right. It's a good thing there's a hose tap on the hose spout on this side. So I did it on purpose that I wouldn't have to bring the hose here. I only have one hose. If you're joining me for the first time, welcome. Looking forward to a fun and eventful summer with a lot of new lessons. I love sharing any tips that I have, that I've found through my experiences, also my knowledge that I've found through research. I'll also share and indicate when I have some kind of traditions that I learned growing up in an Italian-Canadian family. I would like to do some guest kind of visits at my grandfather's garden, which is even further in the city. It's a very dense vertical garden. It's really incredible. He's been there for a long time, so he has some established grapevines. He had a pear tree that he chopped down now, but that should be good for today. Shut that water. So yeah, I would really like to do that if possible. Hopefully, yeah, if COVID will finish sometime early enough, you know, before the fall harvest, because especially with seniors, you know, we're not taking any chances with my family. So what I've done today, April 29, is trim this lilac a little bit. Very little, actually. I just took a few stems, small stems, that I'm gonna try to clone, trying to get some roots from, and then some other parts that I chopped were just basically little stems that I did last year that didn't bloom anything, so they were sitting there dead, so I just chopped those down. And down here where I threw some clay soil, I added some compost, which seems pretty much ready. That compost pile I've been working on, I mixed some compost in there with some organic squash, and I believe, yes, and that's it. So what I've decided, I have a couple of organic squash doing really well inside, and I have and so I decided I'm going to plant outside already in a couple of locations, because some locations might not fit for my squash. You know, all of them require sun, and I don't have a lot of sun, so I'm trying different spots, and wherever it's happy, I'll let it go, and I'll plant multiple in one small area like this. Multiple. I might do peas and something else here that'll grow up the lilac, or at least along with it. I could do like a lattice kind of thing, and we'll see what lasts, what survives. But I'm planting the same in other areas. So I'm planting everything in at more than one, inside and outside, but outside more than one location. This way I can decide later on. So what I've figured out was these top parts. I don't know if you remember from an earlier episode, I cut the bottoms to do of these bottles to do my my seedlings in. Actually, no, I'm using them as like saucers for my seedling pots, my black seedling pots. They're like 4-inch pots, and I didn't know what I was going to do with the top parts. But what I'm going to do with them is enclose the seedling, these seedlings. In this case, it's squash. When it comes out, when it sprouts, to protect it from predators, pests. Maybe not so much pests, but more like I have a lot of squirrels that dig here, and rain, wind, and then during the nice days it'll be too hot, so I'll take them off, and for frost in the overnight, because we'll still be getting frost possibly till June. So so that's good use for all those. I also have some from last year. This thing has been giving me a lot of trouble, actually. It's been a lot of work so far, and I kind of wish that I just did the individual bottles for everything I planted, because it's just not worth the time. Yeah, I probably could have bought something like this online for like, I don't know, $50 at the most, you know, for what, like, yeah, that's like, you know, what, 3 hours at minimum wage. If you make more than minimum wage, less than 3 hours. And it took me altogether so far, it's not even a week, and I've spent maybe 3 hours between building it, planning for the roof, like how to keep everything sealed, and you know, fixing up for this rainstorm we were supposed to get, which we never did, like the holes that still I'm having to deal with on the sides. The thing is with these like tarp and plastic is it's hit and miss with tying the corners, tying sides, poking holes. So I'm really just trying to work with weights, and weights like sticks on top to hold it down. In a couple of cases I showed in my previous episode, I kind of needled a branch through a couple, you know, through the ends on some occasions, but very little. So I don't know, I'm thinking if I could hammer the middle, I'll have to hammer this in a bit lower, and then the black tarp that goes across will cover, will you know, because I don't need that height right now for now, and I can just lift it as I go. All right, here I planted potato, organic yellow potato. I got in the grocery store, and I let grow some what do you call them, sprouts. And so I learned online that they like a bit of higher pH, slightly acidic. So I'm not exactly sure yet if I'm gonna add anything for that, because I saw some growers just throwing some compost for like good nutrition. I gotta still look into that. Let me know if you have any advice for that. This bed here, I cleared of leaves, all the leaves that were here yesterday. I bagged them. They had the there were these ones with the molds, with the fungal spores, black stuff. So I'm putting that to the curb, not taking any chances. And I also decided the weeds that I pulled out of my beds, just putting in the green bin, because the volume is not that much. I know they might be nutrient rich, but my garden is nutrient rich, so how about that? So here I'm planting, so here's another organic squash. And so what I did was, like, they have a high germination rate, these President's Choice organic butternut squash. For my indoor plants, they were like the first to sprout strong. So I just did one in here, one in here, and we'll see how those two do. And I'll cut down as need be. I don't know if this weed, I think it's a weed, yeah, I don't know if it's beneficial for the garden at all. And this one here, I was thinking of just leaving them. I don't know, this looks like the creeper, might be. Put some, what is that, beef tomato and lettuce, bib lettuce, and along the back fence there I put some peas and something else, cucumber. The cucumber seeds don't look very good. They're from store-bought, regular, non-organic, from last summer. They don't look very good. I actually gave some to my dad, and he said the same. They don't look like they haven't come up for our indoor, for either of us, for our indoor pots. So most likely they're Terminator seeds. I will be back. Hip hip hooray. Today was compost day, yard waste day. So I picked up some bags early this morning and a bundle of fresh pine branches that will have to dry out a bit, and that will be kindling for at least a couple months for my charcoal barbecue, which I love to start with that. I did a video on that if you want to check that out. And to start my bonfires, it's awesome. And I'm going to be doing well, I'm going to try to do my first YouTube live now to promote my my channel. And I'm going to be making a homemade root promoter for these clippings, lilac, rose, and another one I'm not exactly sure, some kind of softwood tree. And I'm also hoping to plant some flowers finally in some pots on my live stream. So May 2nd here. Just wanted to let you know that the sun's out. Productions. So here you see my front bed. I couldn't wait any longer. The ugliness was killing me. And I also wanted to distribute the compost that was ready. My first compost batch. I've finally gave it a deadline for that compost as well, and distributed it across my beds. So you see I re-edged this front bed here It's looking much nicer. And I just decided, like this, it's staying wet enough. There's not enough heat. There's not that much, hot sun or heat yet to really kill the soil. But I'll keep topping up with caffeine, coffee grind, and compost. So I just want to show you here. Dun, dun, dun. My mushroom babies. Some good signs. Hopefully we'll be having some shiitake mushrooms soon. You can see some buds that started. It's not zooming in. And so I shelved, put these guys back on the shelf a couple days ago, and I have bottled all of my veggies like I said I would. Here in this bed there's not a lot of sprouts yet. There's actually only a couple of carrots that are starting to come up under the trays. But good day everyone. It is May 4th here, which is a Monday, and I'm giving you a quick update on my seedlings. As you can see, a couple of them have wilted, and that is because, when was it? Yesterday? Yeah, Sunday. It was really nice out, and I let them out for some air to let them harden out a bit. And I made a little mistake by forgetting to check up on them. I put them in a location that was under shade, and I thought they would be under that shade all day. I mean, I thought it was a shady area throughout the day, but I was a bit wrong. So when I went to go grab them a few hours later, they were in direct sunlight. So I'm pretty sure that's what killed a couple of them. I'm not too worried because they're still small. That's a lettuce, that's a broccoli, and that's a broccoli. I'm happy though that most of them did survive it. And this one had a little seedling, a little sprout that died. It was, I don't know, really slow to begin with. So this is exactly why I like to play it safe and plant multiple pots of veggies, but also I like to try different methods. So as you've been seeing this, I've been planting the same veggies outside as well at the same time, and keeping them covered with the plastic bottles. This is exactly why. So that's how my indoor seedlings are doing. And I also wanted to talk a bit about these red potatoes I had bought, organic potatoes, President's Choice, for planting. I have a bunch of them. This is only 2 of them, and I was hoping that they would sprout, but it's weird because I got yellow ones as well, and they sprouted, and I already planted them, which I already showed in my episode 4. But the red ones are not sprouting whatsoever, so I have a feeling they've been neutered I'll call it, because I'm not sure the correct term. Yeah, I don't think they'll be able to reproduce. I think they've been singed. Oh, look at that. Very small thing starting there. Looks like we might just be able to plant them after all. Hopefully. That'd be nice. Better later than never. Okay, I think I promised to show you my soil test results from last spring. So finally remembered to do that, and here we are. So right fence is where I planted, I think, peas already. I planted some potatoes there and a cauliflower. That is the narrow bed along the flower bed on the north side of our property. So you can see it was slightly acidic. So the soil was slightly acidic throughout the yard. Nitrogen varied. So it was low, very low here, but in other areas very low. Mid patio, medium, and the mid patio. And here is rainwater versus tap water pH. So rainwater 7.4, which is alkaline, considered alkaline, and tap water considered neutral. So I'd like to do that again. I'm sure it'll change slightly depending on the month of rain, but also maybe even the month of city water, because it probably depends a little on what kind of water is being filtered through the city, where it's coming from. So, you know, months where it's raining more, it'll be more influenced by the alkaline or whatever the rainwater is like. And then months where it's more dry and you have more industry wastewater coming through with, I don't know, high pH contaminants. Although, I don't know, I think the majority of it gets filtered out. It might still have an impact on the pH of the city water. I'd like to learn a little bit more about that. If you have anything that you've already learned, please share it with everyone in the comments. So this one side, the side of the garage, is the bed, which is basically in the middle of our yard. That gets a lot of shade. I've planted a few things there along the edge that is not really in the shade. And so that was slightly acidic as well. Medium phosphorus, high potassium. This one had good, medium, high phosphorus, low phosphorus. So I added some natural additives, amendments, based on these results. I don't think I added enough, because I use all natural stuff. Like for nitrogen, I know I used coffee grind and grass cuttings from the lawn, but I don't think I used enough coffee grind. I don't know if maybe the grass cuttings, because if you put enough, like, you don't have to put a lot of grass cuttings to increase your nitrogen. Grass cuttings are pretty high nitrogen. I don't know. I didn't do it by a science, so I don't know if it ended up being enough. So maybe I'll be more careful about that this summer. I'll continue using these to add a little bit more of whatever was low, but I'll also be adding everything. Like, I'll just compost whatever I can, and always be topping up, because I see some gardeners that notice big difference in their crop and their harvest from year to year if they don't, like, for beds that they don't top up, they don't amend with compost, particularly the organic component. Back behind shed, right? So that's the one with like rocks, those big rocks. I moved some of them out of the bed this year, and it had a lot of clay in it. So we see slightly acidic, nitro's very low, phosphorus low, potassium medium to high. And then on the mid patio bed, which was my best performing bed last summer, was alkaline pH. See, everything off the hop was except for phosphorus and potassium was pretty bang on. So maybe the whatever I added like for phosphorus and potassium. So I have notes here that phosphorus, coffee grind, this is what I had added for phosphorus, coffee grounds, direct application, and then wood ash. So I probably added a thin layer of that. I didn't go crazy because, like I said, I'd rather be safe than sorry. So if I'm not going to a calculation like scientific breakdown, I probably, yeah, I play it safe and do a thin layer. Then potassium was low, so I again, yeah, coffee grounds. So in the amount of coffee grounds I added, I would factor in the need for both of these. So it's kind of like a double application. But then coffee grind also has nitrogen. It's about 2 or 3% nitrogen. So that probably went up from like medium, a little bit up. I wouldn't say to high because I didn't put that much. Very little nitrogen content. I would like to look up what the phosphorus and potassium contents are of coffee grind or ground, whatever you want to call it. Wood ash is a good source of potassium and phosphorus. Help lower pH. So I did add a little bit of that. So that would have brought the pH maybe even a bit higher, from 7.5, and it would have helped phosphorus and potassium. Nitrogen, I think a lot of you will know peas are nitrogen fixers. So they're very good to have throughout your garden in different locations to help to help with nitrogen, but also lightning. The more lightning, the better. Apparently, lightning, thunder, is really good for our gardens. Produces a lot of nitrogen. Or again, grass clippings and manure. So I haven't been really using manure to date in my garden, my veggie gardens. Bananas, I forgot what they're good for. I think potassium. And if you do apply those, if you do throw those directly in your garden, you want to cover them a bit with soil, just so animals aren't it isn't attracting animals who think there might actually be like the fruit of the banana, and really it's just the peel, and then they'll come digging around your garden for nothing. But you want to dig at at least a couple inches in the ground, I imagine, because they, animals with good strong smell, like squirrels for nuts, right? They can smell stuff pretty deep in the ground. So you want to get it at a few inches, maybe even more than a couple inches in the ground. Comfrey, I have a note here. I guess when I was researching last spring, sterile. I don't remember what I was writing for that, but or look it up if you're interested. If you're interested in the plant, make sure you do a thorough research on what exactly it is for and what its benefits are. So yeah, those are my results from last year. And so you can see I didn't add really any commercial products, and as I said, I didn't add like down to a science, so some of this stuff might still be low. So I just constantly add little thin layers whenever possible. When I have another compost pile done, usually it's at least a couple weeks, which is totally fine, right? Like normally strong fertilizers from the store they are recommended to be added, like the fish emulsion that I was reading, the bottle at the store I almost bought last summer. I think it was every 2 weeks. Topping up with compost that often, like in every couple weeks, shouldn't be an issue, unless you have a big amount, like too much of a certain thing for the plants that are in your garden. So for example, if you've added a lot of ash to your compost, right, which is great for all these elements, phosphorus, potassium, and regulating pH, neutralizing pH, you don't want to go in and put the compost with a high percentage of ash on your potatoes or your blueberries every couple of weeks, because if they prefer more acidic soil, then that wouldn't really be doing justice to your potatoes. So you always want to be mindful of where you're adding it to. That's what I'll be doing, and maybe a little bit of direct application where stuff was very low last year. I may even end up buying another test kit, because a test kit, the one I got was like $10 from Walmart. So I don't know how accurate really it is, how accurate they are, but trusting that they are accurate, which I'm going to trust they're accurate. I may just buy another one this summer, because one kit is only good for what, 6 or 7 1, 2, 3, 4. I probably have 1 or 2 more tests available, but it's not enough for all my beds. So because I have beds that are in different areas of the lawn, I want to do separate tests for all of them. So I would suggest that as well if you're going that route. So I did include the link to the Amazon soil testing search in my last video, episode 4, and I'll include the link again for this video if you're interested to check out what they have. All right, guys, I think I found my first ramp. Oh my goodness, it's amazing. I really hope it is, because I already ate some. That's how I identified it. I tasted it and made sure it tastes a bit like onion. Thanks for watching another episode. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you learned something, or have something that you thought you could share with my viewers and myself, or that you maybe even thought of some new questions, some new things that you can research now, and maybe even consider sharing your findings with us. In episode 6, I plan on finally closing in the bottom of my small raised greenhouses, to put some compost at the bottom of them, and to try my compost heated greenhouse idea, which I just searched up online, and turns out that a lot of gardeners do this as well. It has been done, so I guess I was not the first. So yeah, I look forward to trying that out, and I hope you'll join me for that as well. Thanks again. Please check out
my other videos, and consider liking and subscribing, and I always appreciate when you share my videos as well. Thanks so much, and see you soon.